I'm J.M. Hirsch, food editor for the Associated Press, and we are at the 10th anniversary of the South Beach Wine and Food Festival. We are talking about the divisive nature of the American food culture, the Whole Food versus Walmart effect. With me to talk about this is Ted Allen from Food Network's Chopped, and Nate Appleman, formerly of A16 Restaurant in San Francisco, and now of Chipotle Mexican Grill, a fast food chain.
That's right.
So let's talk about this idea that American food culture is fractured, because increasingly we obsess about organic and artisanal and local foods, and especially in our circles, this is a very important part of what we do and fostering these sorts of foods. And yet at the same time, Americans as a whole are relying on processed foods more than ever before, and convenience foods and takeout. And I'm wondering if there is a middle ground and kind of the fallout of this divisiveness and how we bring this together. Because my thought is Whole Foods sells plenty of processed food, and Walmart now sells lots of organics. Are organic Oreos the solution here? Is that the right middle ground?
I think it kind of depends about what audience you're talking about. What kind of there are so many issues. You're covering a lot of issues here. I think maybe the way of course, people who are into serious food, who really love food, are always going to say that you should eat only foods that are seasonal, that are in season. We're going to prefer local things, organic things. But looking at a larger picture for America as a whole, we're in a culture where a huge percentage of the population gets all their calories from fast food, don't eat vegetables at all. So I would argue that before you start talking about Walmart versus Whole Foods or organic anything, how about getting people to eat produce in the first place? And maybe exercise once in a while.
But the problem with that actually is that even that attitude seems a little out there for a lot of people, because as you're right, so many people get so many of their calories from processed foods, from fast food and unhealthy fast foods. And how do you get them to take that seriously? Because increasingly in our culture, even that is being seen as elitist.
I want to tee you up in just 1 second, but let me just say that I think you're right, and I think this is why it's so important for, say, for example, the First Lady to make it her mission to talk about, if you can, growing a garden, and you need to get out there and move with your kids. But I also think that what Nate is doing now is involving himself with an organization that makes fast food that's actually good food. Right. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong by any means. I think Chipotle is the perfect bridge between the two gaps. Because you get the best of both worlds. We use ingredients that you consider the ingredients that the elitists use, but we're offering it to everyone at a convenience. And I would argue a lot of times convenience is a deciding factor, but what Chipotle is doing is offering that convenience at an affordable price. So it can be done, and it is being done on a large scale.
Right, you guys have 1,000 chains?
1,000 restaurants.
1,000 restaurants, yeah.
You're talking about genuine chicken, you're talking about black beans, you're talking about not only is it food that's made from real whole foods, you'll pardon the expression, but that's also vivid and spicy and flavorful. And in some cases, the one you're working at, you're sourcing organically. I read in the paper. Where you can.
We source organically for the whole company. You do? Wherever we can, we do. Right now, 40% of our beans are organic. Right. And it would be a lot more, and it increases all the time, but it's a supply thing. Right. So if it's available, we buy it. There's no question about that.
Well, I really appreciate you guys both taking the time to talk about this.
Thank you. Appreciate you doing the story.